All right, boys and girls, thank you so much for sticking around here. Map 3 about to begin between Ghost and Rush, as both teams are fighting for their chance to compete in Season 6 of the ESL Pro League. Obviously, Rush was competing there this last season, but they did not have what it takes to get past the lower two spots, so they have been forced down into relegation. And Ghost finished third during the regular season of the Mountain Dew League to get to this very same spot. And obviously, it's been a bit of back and forth. The first map was Ghost's to take, I believe it was 16-10. That last game, though, was a blowout in Rush's favor on Mirage. So now the dust settles and both teams find themselves on NA's favorite map, of course, none other than Cash, as the two teams begin to get the knife round underway. I'm your host, Bach. Blue is with me as well. It'll be interesting to see how these two teams stack up against one another on Cash, because it really isn't a fantastic map for either team. I think we did just watch Ghost Gaming lose to Pain Gaming, the Brazilian team that played at the Mountain Dew League Global Challenge. And then during the regular season, I believe it was Rush who got ragdolled by Cloud9 on the very same map. So it's really not a great map for either team, which means this is going to get very, very interesting. It's going to be classic NACS at its finest, and I would expect no better given the way that that last game just ended. If you missed it, it was a 1-versus-1 with Silent behind Ticket Booth. Molly lands, he throws the smoke directly into it, and it bounces right off the flames. He dies. You'd think, oh man, Ghost is going to keep this comeback going. Nope, Rush wins an eco in the next round to close the game out. So here we go. Pistol round begins, and it's Ghost Gaming starting on the CT side. B stuck to pick up the kit and the smoke. Damage already being dealt very early on as Neptune just charges towards the T side attack. And it's going to be another kill for the likes of Rush as well. Wardell, B, and Connor, that's Heartbeat. Left trying to defend this B bomb site. B's up on top right now. The nade goes a little bit past him, so it doesn't do as much damage as it could have. Still, though, the bomb's made it into the site, and it's a perfect setup. The bomb goes down in the back. Everyone else stays behind. So it's a wonderfully executed plan right now for Rush. It's going to force the hand of Ghost to really take fights here. Wardell repositions, trying to come through the vents. Blade spots him, and Ruru is going to swing out as well. So they know there's two players here, and they have to assume with the bomb plant there's going to be more. But here comes the play. Into the site they go. Flashbang coming out from Blade to try and open up some room, but the smoke's down on top of the bomb. They're trying to duck and dodge everything, but B pulled off. I believe B actually let go of the defuse at one point. We saw the graphic above his head, but then he decides to stop it. So it will be Rush continuing on with what they started in the last game, picking up the pistol round here on Cash.
Goes so close to being able to hold on to that one, but at the end of the day, Rush do end up coming out on top of it, just bursting their way back into the site. Thankfully, they didn't lose their positioning on the bomb, too, as we so often see, leading to those very awkward sort of smoke ninja diffuses, but didn't happen this time. Rush do indeed close it out. We'll end up 1-0 for them. It's out in the second round. They're just going to take it nice and slow. So will Ghost, apparently, however. They're actually not going to buy into it too heavily at all, with the exception of Seb. Everybody just picks up the pistol, and that's all they're going to buy.
This is something we've actually seen from them. Once they started competing in leagues more, when they were a LAM team, they were pretty heavy on the force buy. They did it almost all the time. But once they started playing in leagues, I noticed they actually pumped the brakes more on their buys. And it's something I applaud, because it actually will work from time to time, but if anything, it just sets them up better in the long run. Wardell goes down after doing decent damage to Akis, as does Connor. So they've scratched up Akis, and Blade's a little bloody as well, but they're regrouping in A main, trying to bring that bomb towards the A site. They spot B, who's on the flank. Right around the corner, it's Neptune with a P250, and he puts the barrel of the gun directly into Akis' temple, and it still takes a few shots. So now it's Seb all by himself across the map from where the bomb's being planted. At this point, he's got armor and a 5.7, so I don't expect him to do anything except for hold for an exit.
Yeah, can still utilize that going into the third round, so more than likely a Rush are just going to end up, finding a pretty peaceful resolution to the rest of this one. Bomb going down, just waiting down the timer, and eventually they'll get themselves that second round, as Ghost, unfortunately, weren't able to hold it, with the exception of a bit of a random event from Neptune. We saw him just kind of wildly pushing to A main, but besides that, a pretty straightforward round with Rush taking quick control of it, and Seb prioritizing his life more than likely over getting any additional kills here. And Rush are indeed now falling back out of the site. Just making out of here, making sure they know it's completely safe and that Seb isn't going to try anything. Keep in mind, again, they don't really know his position just yet. They're going to systematically kind of work their way back out, try to avoid as little losses as possible so they can build up that money and make sure they're strong going over towards the first gun round coming up after this next round.
So Seb survives with the 5-7 armor. We'll see what he's going to be able to do with it. The rest of his team is going to be back down to pistols anyway. But Rush Gaming, probably pretty happy with the way that just went. So Rush, Rush, they lose that first map. It's closer, not close, 16-10. And then they just dominate Ghost in the second. And we kind of talked about the effect that could have on Ghost moving into the third map, especially one that neither team is particularly competent on. I feel like I have to look at the veto phase, but I would imagine they basically just went through and vetoed out their worst maps. Which appears to be the case. Actually, Rush vetoed Cobble, which is a really good map for Ghost, and Ghost vetoed Overpass, so the opposite. They vetoed out like some of their best maps. There was 2 left that they were good at, which is why these teams are in the positions they're in. Their map pools just aren't as deep. So we end up on Cash, and right now, if you're Rush, you're pretty happy with the fact that you've started out with at least a pistol round, but if you can keep these rounds devastating with the number of players that survive, it bodes well for you moving forward, because that's what they were able to do on Mirage. After picking up the pistol, they didn't really suffer too many casualties, and even their bonus round where they did lose, they came back and responded fast and won 6 straight after that. So it's a 2-0 start right now for Rush. Looks like it's going to be a 3-0. The Bomb grouping up in A as they get ready for the execute onto this A site. There's just Wardell and Neptune left defending, and Neptune's only got a USP. Down goes Neptune. Swings out wide from the quad box. He's not really going to last too long with that decision. Wardell's still in the site here with the P250. He's got a good position here, and good damage as well being dealt by Connor from distance with the Deagle, but they've now surrendered the site and 2 bodies as well. So Seb and B going to try and just get in there as fast as possible, and they're not going to get very far. Toy with the 3K on the round, and the 3-piece there for Rush.
It's a short-lived hold with Connor picking up that 1 kill, and ultimately Rush are able to push through and pick up that 3rd round with decent money left over as well, so they're going to be in a really good position to rebuy should they end up losing out here. Obviously, as a result of that, they'll still have a few UMPs going into this first real big gun round, but that shouldn't matter too much, as we all know how strong the UMPs truly are. Wardell and B immediately go for a double op setup in this map, though, which is going to limit the CT's utility quite heavily and allow for Rush to line up for whatever type of take they want to do without too much delay. And we can already see them prioritizing the A site, sending, I think, 3 players all the way over here towards the squeaky hallway, and only 2 going into A main. And only to defend it, well, at the moment, you just have Seb and Heartbeat sitting over here. Reinforcements are available over on Highway, but they're going to need to get up here quick, as we're already seeing 1-2. Neptune does respond now, making it an even 2-for-2 trade. And as we get into the site, though, Toy finds 1 more kill with a nade, eliminating Neptune, just leaving the ops up and running.
And now one of those ops is gone. Wardell's left running away with his, trying to hide in CT spawn if he can. I don't think that Rush is really going to go for this at this point. They're content to hold on to the 3 AKs they've got. So another good look from Rush. As they get onto that A bomb site, they really encounter limited resistance as only Seb and Neptune come up with anything in the round. And this is not looking good if you're Ghost, because it's just looking too similar to the last map. You really struggled early on with your cash. And now Toy, he's over towards CT spawn. He's already started spamming through the wall with that AK, and I think he's going to anticipate this position. There was a bit of a miscommunication there, as Wardell did get a kill on Ruru, and you could see Toy actually thought for a second that it came from the B bomb site up on Heaven before it was made aware to him that it was in CT spawn. So a 4-0 start. Wardell again holding on to an op. We've seen this look before. It'll be pistols surrounding him, and I don't even think they're going to buy armor. It looks like it's going to be mostly Deagles.
Yeah, the Eagles, and then obviously Wardell saving the op, but that's all they'll carry into this round now. So it should be in theory, it should be a walkover round for Rush. We'll see how much. I mean, the op, you're expecting it to maybe get 1 or 2 kills at most, depending on how Wardell decides to play it. But that's it's very much an up in the air sort of thing. And Wardell now going to play really aggressively inside of the Shroud Cubby currently, trying to spot for any A main aggression. But Rush back into playing a default, so it's going to be some time before he catches any fish at all inside of this room, if he even gets any. Depending on which way Rush decide to throw this one right now. They're throwing a lot of pressure at like B halls and whatnot, but that's not going to fade away as they go back to mid. They did a little bit of damage to B, so they're probably happy with that. It took a little bit too. And now Neptune trying to kind of challenge a little bit from Z. More importantly, just trying to line up a couple Deagle shots if he can hit them at all.
Silent posted up in B main, back behind the toxic barrels with that AWP. He's going to heave a molly into the back. There's no one back there, though. But if there were, they'd be flushed out. Right around the corner, they've got to contend with Seb, who's holding tight with his P250. Hasn't really peeked out wide enough yet for them to know he's here. He's just waiting for an opportunity to strike. His teammate B is here, but there's no flashbang to throw in, no lead toss. So they hear the flash coming in from their opponents. The smoke lands as well. Seb can't really do much about it. B's just going to let it bang, spamming away with that deagle as his crosshair goes flying and the recoil takes over. I don't think he actually hit with a single bullet, but
no, he didn't.
The fear of one finding a home in one of the skulls of a member from Rush keeps them from crossing for just a moment or two. Again, Wardell's left in a safe position.
B just sitting back, still wants to take some duels. If anyone wants to push the bottom of heaven, Wardell actually picks up one kill too, and they're trying to hunt him down, but B goes down without a single frag to his name, and it is just Wardell trying to save once again now, as he's back over inside of the A bomb site, but in a moment he's going to have to deal with 2 players pushing into him. Akis first. Oh, God, Akis didn't even seem like he peeked all the way when he hit that shot, so big peeker's advantage showing up for that one there, as Rush do indeed close it out. Now 5-0 ahead. And the pause being called, assumably from Ghost, but this is a little bit early in the map, so it could actually be a technical pause. We'll find out, I'm sure, in a second or two.
Yeah, it's very likely it is just technical. It's a little early on for a North American team to be calling a pause. We usually wait until it's like 12-0. That's something that I've noticed. It's driven me nuts before. If this was European CS, I'd be like, oh, this is probably tactical. Like they just got blown out in the last map. They're down 5-0.
Most, as far as I know, most teams make a habit of either doing 6 or 7 rounds.
7,
straight. Yeah.
I'd say 7. If you've lost 7 in a row, that's a good point because you're basically, you're a quarter of a way through the game.
That's
or,
like
halfway through a half.
That's like possibly 2 or 3 gun runs in a row being lost, along with, I'm assuming, some pretty bad anti-ecos. So
yeah, I mean,
ecos in that case.
If you've lost 7, you've had your 3rd, 5th, and 7th were definite buy rounds. So. Yeah, I'd say in general, like if you're down 7-0, that's usually a pretty good point to pump the brakes and try and figure out what's going on. But not the case, just a technical pause as they must have been having some sort of problem. And we're going to see Ghost try and pick up around here, and they're going to do it by way of boosting up into this A bomb site. Seb's been thrown up into the corner here, into the Shroud spot. B's over on the B site with that secondary op. We know that that's worked out well for them in the past, especially on maps that lend itself to a double op. I just don't know if it's going to be successful for them here. I mean, 1 smoke and he's already taken out of the round. His teammate's in the site. Not a lot he can do to support him. The flashbang's there as well to keep him from doing much of anything. And now his teammate up on high has died. I mean, at this point, you kind of think that this is a save. They're going to have to find a kill quick if they want to have a chance at going for this. We'll see if it's going to come through by way of Wardell's op.
Yeah, Ghost now still just sitting outside of A main here. I mean, the real problem here is without any pressure in mid or checkers or anything, or not checkers, but like towards vents into checkers or anything like that, it's pretty much impossible to just go directly in for this. A tree room in heaven. It's so hard to get back into the site, especially when you're outnumbered. So you're right about the save call. All 3 of them fall back inside of CT spawn, and they are just going to carry into the next round. And still having the double op set up along with the 7-4. And behind that, I mean, again, pretty much full losing bonus, so they can probably force up behind. It's going to be a bit limited for Neptune and Heartbeat, but at the very least, assumably, Wardell and B, specifically Wardell, since he still has a decent amount of utility, should be able to drop 1 or 2 of those guns over.
Yeah, well, now he's throwing away some of the utility he had. So he just heaved out 2 flashbangs. It's going to cost him a little bit more. Does he decide to actually drop a gun, though? No, he just rebuys the flashbangs and doesn't buy a gun.
They get full M4s, though, so they didn't really...
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't really need to.
I mean, if anything, you want to keep the money on him because, people forget that the op gets less money per kill. So even if your op is doing really well, he's not making much cash unless he's consistently staying alive. So it's a decent call to give him that extra cash, the extra leg up. So if it does come down to a round where they need to buy an op again, at least he'll have enough for it.
Heartbeat trying to get himself 4. I mean, as we talk about like individual players here too, one guy that we just haven't seen anything at all from, granted he's kind of moving around a little bit, but it's been B, who's currently 0-5 right now. Just really absent, whereas in the previous maps, he's been a huge player for Ghost. And at the moment, we're seeing nothing from him.
I mean, we're really not seeing much of anything from anyone, right? The top fragger right now has 4 kills, 6 rounds into a game.
Well, the worst part about B's situation now, too, is he's scoped, so they should know he's in here. They should know he's hiding inside of this hallway now, unless they weren't really paying attention to it. But right now, they are leaving themselves open for it. And Neptune and Seb being allowed so much progress back into the site. All of a sudden, this round spun itself on its heels, and it's just up to Ruru, who has absolutely no access to that site at all. Wardell's going to push back out, hits the banger shot onto Ruru, and that will indeed finally be a round for Ghost going up onto the board.
And it's not a round where it puts them in immediate threat of being reset either because 4 players survive. So they'll have decent cash moving into the next one without having to spend too much money. Now they're going to have to spend a little bit just to get the utility back, but the cash balances out just a decent bit for Ghost. Still, though, there was so much built up on Rush because of the 6 round straight and a lot of those rounds not really being much of a fight from Ghost. Like we were saying, coming into that round, the top fragger has 4 kills. So Neptune shuts us up by picking up 3 kills. The young blood for Ghost does quite well to try and give his team an extra advantage in that one. And they do come out on top, but they're going to have to do that several more times here.
Both Silent, along with the player that had pushed early on, it's B again that tries to go over towards Squeaky Hallway. Both have missed their op shots. So that's just going to give the control back over to Rush. And the real bad thing is, too, is obviously they know that the op is once again somewhere around the A site. But the real bad thing is that obviously, you know, B spots both those players pushing into the hallway, but you can't really act on that intel just yet. It's a very common thing to do. Neptune, though, he's going to pick up the first kill finally, going himself over boost. Almost gets a second, too, but Silent responds with his P250. He's going to take down Neptune, brings into another 4v4. Seb tries to win it against Akis, but Akis comes out on top. The good news is, though, is that both Toy and Akis were brought down incredibly low from taking those duels. So they're going to be quite lit. They try to push directly into this B site now, but it's ward out with the ops. The health pools aren't going to matter that much unless he gets support from Connor here in a second, which is not looking likely with the Rush being as quiet as they are.
I mean, Wardell does have an incendiary grenade, but we said this before. You can kind of fault the man for not using that utility when he should. So he gets stuck in the site here. The Molly forces him out. It's another shot onto Ruru, and another one as well. He legs him and then hits him with the USP, puts him down to 1 health. But it's enough to survive and make their way onto the site. And like we said, he had all of that utility, and he barely threw anything. I think he drop smoked, attempting to save himself from the Molly that landed at his own feet. And it'll be B and Connor both trying to retake. B is in mid, working his way around with that op. I mean, it doesn't even look like they're going for it here. It looks like Connor's just sticking back looking for an opening, and he's just going to run away as well. So despite all of the damage dealt, and it should have been calmed down as well, it's not a round. I mean, no one on the side of Rush is above 50 HP. Even Silent would be an easy kill, but Toy on 13, Ruru on 1, and Akis on 5. You got to be frustrated if you're Ghost, but you also understand the repercussions of walking away from this round without these guns in your hand.
Yeah. Now Rush will push ahead here. 3, 4 players, all so low on Rush, but none of them get dropped. So Rush going to whip with a massive amount of economy, where at the very least 2 of those guys should have ended up going down at the end of the round. Obviously, Ghosts are going to be happy to escape with what they make it out of the round, with it re-enables the possibility for another buy right here. But, well, still, that could have been a large break and quite a bit of money being brought down, but now almost none of that's going to happen, and Rush continue to build up a massive economy off of the banks of that one with a 7-1 lead to top it all off. Ghosts have to hope now that by passing that opportunity up, they are going to be able to crush things from this point forward. Right now, they're just starting off into another default. Neither team really going to be seeing any combat for any time soon. Neptune not being boosted up or anything like that, so everybody kind of respecting each side of the map for the first couple seconds here.
See how long that lasts, because I feel like the last few rounds, it's been Neptune who's been getting frustrated with the way that this game's been playing out, getting aggressive, and really being the one to try and put the team on his back and carry them to victory. Which is great to see, because when they played in Leicester just this last weekend, I felt like Neptune kind of wasn't where I'm used to seeing him at. So it'll be nice to see if he can kind of get over that hurdle, whatever it was that was blocking him up there. There's the nades to come out towards mid. A counter nade from Neptune. It's a molly right on Akis' feet, and he has to dive away. Gets dropped down to 50 HP as he was trying to throw a flashbang out right into Neptune's path. Meanwhile, though, they picked up kills on both sides of the spectrum. Toy and Seb both wiped off the round. Neptune with the pop flash trying to drop his way out of the vents. It does well for Blade, but there's still more bodies here. It doesn't matter. He's going to transfer his recoil over, runs out of ammo, but it's just Silent, so the damage has been dealt. 30 seconds left. Silent can't see a thing, stuck staring into the corner as Connor finally closes out the round. Again, Neptune really coming alive here for Ghost. He's been pivotal in the 2 rounds that Ghost has been able to get.
That denial in mid is what was more important, though, because we did end up seeing, I think it was Ruru that hit his first initial entry kill back over against Seb and B, and that actually could have opened up a huge wormhole for them to just take control and force like a 2 or 3 man save from Ghost again. But thankfully, they held off mid, denied Rush from having a quick follow-up to get into like vents pressure, and that pretty much killed the hit from there. So Ruru's kill meant very little and they weren't able to kind of bring it back and set Neptune up for that massive multi-frag he ended up getting there. Close out of the round. Now B going to push forward. He found his first kill in the last round. He's going to get a second one to follow up into the 10th. This time, though, it's not as successful. He only finds that one kill and is then traded back out by Akis seconds later.
Again, back and forth early on. Kills for each team exactly mirroring last round, except for the names that have been exchanged. At this point, Ghost really needs to step things up, because this back and forth brawl we've seen in the last few rounds is not sustainable on their CT side, especially given how deep we are into this one for Rush. Seb picks up one more kill on the round. As they struggle to make it out of the squeaky door, that's going to be Seb yet again. Toy finally ends his rampage here from the squeaky door himself, but he realizes the rest of his team has fallen by the wayside, so it's up to him. And unfortunately, it's Neptune to come in, and again, continuing in his dominant form that we've seen over the last few rounds, going from 4 kills to now 12 in the 3 rounds that we've seen going Ghost's way. Pretty impressive performance from him. Rush, though, still have so much money. I mean, this is just a serious problem for Ghost, is that Rush was able to build up so much cash in those early rounds that even still after this one, there's players who would be able to buy. It would be a save for Rush, but they'd be hitting 3 rounds loss bonus. So, you know, a bomb plant here makes a buy that comes after that really, really good for Rush.
Well, it took Ghost about a good 5 or 6 rounds here, but they are finally kind of getting their footing going on the CT side, being able to finally kind of read into how Rush is playing their T side. And again, they're not really playing it super advanced. It's a very straightforward T side here. Once again, you've got another example of that with Ruru kind of just moving on his own. You have the single player scoping out the site, and it leads into a sort of haphazard take, but it works out great for them. This is what could have happened about 2 rounds ago, or excuse me, last round. If we did end up seeing Ruru's kill followed up by actual mid pressure being taken, as that basically we'd be in this exact situation, and these last 2 from Ghost would be doing what they'd be doing now, just falling back to A and forced into a save, which one of them's not even going to get that opportunity. Toy swings in a tree room, finds Sebsta way in the open by Truck, and B may end up suffering from a similar fate, although he's going to get at least 1 trade kill before going down, but with the amount of money that Rush still has here, it's really not going to matter that much.
Now, I know you had already mentioned this, but I want to remind everyone as well. It's looking really bad for Ghost, but it's not like losing this map would mean they're out of it. They have one more best of 3. They would get bumped down into the lower bracket, but then they'd have to play, you know, an additional match. So ultimately up to 3 best of 3s to make it into ESL Pro League. Not really how they wanted to start, but it would mirror what we saw from them in the regular season if it were to occur. A team that just seemed to struggle, but still had just enough to get to where they needed to be. Pistols in play here for Ghost Gaming as they need to do something here against Rush, who's basically just picked up where they left off on Mirage. B popping shots into the wall to try and mask the sound of the incoming flashbang, but no one's there to either hear the shots nor see the flash. So it's man advantage for Rush early.
B tried to make a move in A main, but was spotted out by the op, so Silent's going to be ready to take that battle if necessary. Toy hitting another entry over here, and I'm sure he's going to be watching out for B. Yep, just leans right into that headshot there. One more over here, Toxic, that might have been able to impact against Toy, but nope. Aegis comes in from the backside to prevent that. Really good timing on these pushes from Rush. It seems really well controlled against this type of tier of team. So now Wardell's the last man standing. And he's just going to tuck behind Checker's box to try and stay alive here, since he does have a little bit to carry into the next round with, more importantly, the head armor and smoke and flash over anything else.
I mean, the most impressive thing right now with the way that Rush is playing, and you could just attribute this to their season in the ESL Pro League, is the level of like practice, communication, and commitment we're seeing from the team, given that they played a whole season without an org. You know, how many times do you see teams that kind of struggle because the players can't quit their jobs or take the game to that next level because of the fact that they don't have that, you know, economic representation. They don't have the salary, the money they need to really take it to the next level. But Rush has done a decent job here, and I know you could say they bombed out of Pro League, and that would be true, but they definitely look very calculated and coordinated on cash right now, much more so than Ghost. But you could also make the argument for them that they only recently came into this sponsorship with Ghost Gaming, so I'd love to see what this team can do, but hopefully if they drop out here in this best of 3, it won't hurt their chances moving forward. Akis, he's got a couple of players in front of him here with this AK firing away through the wall, but he doesn't actually connect it too much until Connor peeks out from the door, and even still, Connor escapes with his life somehow. Ruru is going to close out Wardell, so it's Another round starting strong here, and another weak bye for Ghost, as it is just pistols and armor, trying to stack up some cash here moving forward towards the end of the first half.
Yeah, for everyone else on Ghost now, just hoping to maybe get lucky with a kill or two. Now, what's unfortunate is that they do take the effort to try and get Connor up on top of this boost spot, and I think he does it pretty much solo. But in jumping over into that spot, he was spotted by Silent. So when they move out, they're going to be looking for him hiding behind this little pipe or whatever over here inside of the cubby. Valiant effort, but we're not going to lead to much since they did spot him. And overall, the rest of the team still just working with those upgraded pistols and whatnot. So in a moment, and they find him. He actually is able to get one. He almost gets a second, too. So wrong about that. It's not for nothing. Even with Silent spotting that player, they don't know fully where he ended up going. B moving in, escaping with 1 kill, 2, and Silent just can't hit those pistol shots. So B is going to escape with that one for free. However, he's not the last man standing in a 1 versus 3 situation. 1v2 now as he moves in, picks up 1 kill, lines up a second one. Hold on, now he's up to a 3K. Could possibly make it a 4K, too. Ruru now alone trying to clutch this one back out. And he will have the range advantage with an AK still in hand, but he doesn't exactly know where B's playing from just yet. He's got a 50-50 chance of finding him out, giving himself away, but he does now know where B's playing from and hits the headshot. When he finally goes back in, Rush will still control the situation, but indeed at the very end, B makes it very expensive.
Ruru looking really good here on cash as well. As much as we've been highlighting Neptune's performance and Ghost's little spurt of rounds that we saw, Ruru is sitting at 14-5 right now, and Toy's just behind at 12-8. So Ruru is doing a great job. Another 3K for him there. Here comes Ghost with the double op setup, which is how things started for them before when they were able to get rounds going. I mean, it's just too little too late, though. You're looking at the round total for Rush. It's exactly what we saw on Mirage, where basically Rush just had carte blanche over the first half, could do whatever they wanted, and there wasn't much that Ghost could do about it. Here we see Ruru peeking aggressively onto B main with the Molotov to lead the charge. He uses the flames and the smoke to mask the view of Wardell, the op just behind it, but only does a little bit of damage, dropping him down to 93. Flashes coming out over the boost spot in mid. As you can see, Rush is gaining control of that area with ease. There really isn't much presence from Ghost.
They do put Seb up on top of Shroud, so they're going to have that going for them. Issue is, though, is that they have kept Toy relatively close. I'm not sure the method they used to get Seb up there. I think, which would be great for them if they did do this, I think they just use the conventional boost since the running boost is extremely loud. So in the event they did that, they may have not been able to hear Seb, and he may kind of have the element of surprise, which he's now going to go for. So there you go. It did work out great for him. Now he's got to get more, though, and to do that, he's got to go back downstairs. His holding up top is no longer a safe zone. Moving in, gets himself that second. Neptune finds one as well, and B also chiming in. The only trade so far has been from Ruru. Just Silent at the live now in a 1v4 situation. He'll finally eliminate Seb, but it's after he's very much so done his job, and Wardell's able to move in, relieve the rest of his teammates from their duty, close out with that last kill against Silent, and at least get Ghost a 4th round as we go into the last one of the half here.
And that shot from Silent, both shots actually, he shoots first, right towards Toxic Barrels, basically the jump up spot for the Shroud boost, and he just misses, and then he sends one more through the smoke, and it goes right over his left shoulder. So narrowly hit Seb, and Seb ended up staying alive long enough to get one more kill before Silent had to take his life with the P250. So at least Ghost has got a 4th. I mean, maybe they can make it 10-5. It's not great, but it's recoverable for sure. Silent up on top right now with the AWP after the molly landed there early. He's just waiting and waiting and waiting. Unfortunately, unbeknownst to him, Neptune's already up in the cubby and Connor's in vents. So unlike last round, Ghost has a lot of mid control right now with 2 players with a solid crossfire setup. They molly close, but there's the molly vents to flush Connor out. It doesn't matter. Connor catches Akis as the molly blooms in the vents. Neptune's still just beneath the boost spot, and he's going to reposition exactly where that first molly was thrown. It doesn't even matter. Connor is keeping him alive here with all of the defense in mid. Silent finally ends Connor, but at this point, look what's been done. It's a 4-on-3 with an advantage for Ghost Gaming, and now a 4-on-2. So it looks like we will be seeing that 10-5 unless Silent and Toy can close this round out with some style.
Silent's about to head into the Hornet's Nest, though. Back over here in mid. Neptune... Actually, no, it's actually a little bit open. I just realized Neptune repositioned inside the garage. But Neptune can hear all the happenings in mid right now, although he misses up until that point. Silent hopping around. Correcting that, though, he'll take him out, and now it just leaves Toy in this action alone. set against the 1v4, baits them into missing that first stop shot, but the second one follows through truly. As you were mentioning, Ghost pick up that 5th round. We'll end up 10-5. Still, though, for a map like Cash, that's a heavy advantage to Rush, and if they end up winning the pistol here and don't get ecoed in the second round, they'll be in a great position to still follow through and overall try to take control of this set 2-1.
Now, also, the winner of this would be moving on to play the winner of our next series, which is going to be Enigma 6 versus Foundation, correct?
Yes, that's right.
And then the loser would play the loser of that game.
Mm-hmm. And then the winners of the losers game play the losers of the upper bracket game. Double elimination bracket. I think everyone...
Like, you know, it would help cement things here for the Premier teams a little bit more. But as of right now, Pro League teams looking pretty good because Rush obviously coming down from the Pro League to play this match. They're up with a 10-5 after a really strong Mirage. I'm just waiting for these two teams to ready up so we can get into the second half. You know, it kind of went the way I expected it would to a certain degree, where it was just Rush kind of riding momentum from that second map. And it wasn't super clean, but it wasn't really messy either. I feel like Rush just outplayed Ghost. I didn't see anything where I was like, oh, wow, look, Rush is really doing something crazy. It was kind of standard Cash play. It was just Ghost kind of caught out in bad positioning, losing duels. The only reason they won a few of the rounds that they did was because one player had to put the team on their back. Like we saw it towards the end there where it was Connor in mid, or it was Neptune early on in those 3 rounds that they won early. So I feel like Rush kind of just beat up on Ghost, and the only rounds that Ghost got was because one player had to do something amazing.
Yeah, I would agree with that assessment. Well, it is looking like we're going live now with the second half, guys. So Rush still ahead with the ability to quickly close out on this one if they claim the pistol in the following 2 rounds. But Ghost goes both ways here. If Ghost won the pistol, it's right back into a close game. So very, very important for both teams, as per usual. But this one being even more important for Ghost, trying to stay alive and not have to battle their way through the lower bracket right from the start of it to still try and get themselves a Pro League spot.
Only got a player over towards B trying to distract right now. That would be B. It's a 3-man stack on the A site. Toys playing towards MPK, and he starts firing away. Takes him a bit of time, but his teammates have done the damage as well. Akis is here. Toy gets a second chance for another one and another, and it comes down to just B, the last man standing, who is the decoy on the opposite end of the map. And now he's trapped behind a smoke with the bomb left in front of him. Silence on 1 HP.
Yeah,
but
B
doesn't matter.
There's not a whole lot that B can really do here now. He's just going to be sitting back over here inside of A main, but Molly onto the ground. B battling it out. He actually does get one, despite all the odds set against him, but it matters very little. Rush got the pistol. Toy got a massive 4K round, and now we're 11-5. Ghost didn't even get a plant, so they should force up here.
Yeah, we're going to see them go straight to the Tech 9 and the armor as well. It's just a matter of which direction they decide to run in. Umps across the board for Rush. No one feeling comfortable with the rifle early on. Just going to rock the SMG. We've seen it slowly go from like 3 to then 4 to now 5 umps. And I'd be lying if I said this was the first time I've said it. 5 umps purchased by the CT side here in the anti-force buy. The bomb is dropped back by mid-main as they work their way up towards highway. There's one in the site. It's Blade. Is over Forklift. He gets spotted, but there's still one more to support him. That's Ruru. He was over by default, but now he sees the players coming up from highway, and he's got to act fast. The flashbang's actually over their shoulders, and down he goes. This is the fear of setting up with the SMGs early on against the Tech 9s, but Akis isn't worried. He gets 2 before he finally meets his end, and it'll be a 2 versus 2 between Toy, Silent, Heartbeat, that's Connor, and Seb. The bomb about to go down in this A site if it can get across in just a moment here. Seb finally makes it over, but they've got mollies to try and delay this.
And a nade, too, which is going to go back in here. They were both stacked together a second ago. The nade really not going to hit that much. The molly, oh, so close to kill. Oh, no, it does spread at the last second to get him. So now it's down to Heartbeat. 35 HP to play with here. And he's going to try to line up for one, but it fails out. Silent takes him down. And what's the really important play there is definitely a 2K from Akis. That could have gotten very out of control if he didn't do that. And that actually might have been a save call from Toy and Silent if Akis didn't get that double kill. But he does, and that pretty much brings it back into a controllable situation for Rush. So they don't get ecoed. They don't get upset. And that will allow them to carry through, holding the 3-0 lead to start the half and the 13-5 lead overall in the map.
You never know what could happen, though. The Deagles have been purchased, and even though we haven't seen great success for Ghost tonight with these rounds, it's still certainly possible that they could find it. It all comes down to that first bullet accuracy with the hand cannon. And Neptune, he's kind of doing what he did in the first half. When he started getting frustrated, he just barrels on up and moves into that lead position, trying to blow past his teammates as fast as possible. He's looking for the Grand Prix play. Misses the shot, though, onto Ruru, and he's getting peppered through the roll-up door as well. He can't even do much of anything. He's getting aim-punched through the wall. So the crosshair's going everywhere. Seb's not able to connect in mid either. So they know what's going on here. They know it's Deagles, and they're trying to work these as best as possible, but Akis is doing what he can to prevent that from being a reality. Wardell and Seb, the only two that remain for Ghost Gaming.
Wardell, almost finding himself a bit of a headshot, at least attempting to, but no connection being met. So Seb now trying to lurk himself back around the bend over here, looking for Blade over in the corner. Again, I'm not really going to find him just yet, but Blade, there we go, there's the lineup. Takes out Seb, just Wardell alive with a Glock and the bomb. Not expecting anything fantastic here. Ruro runs it up from the backside and shuts it down, and that will be Rush getting the 13th round. Everyone staying alive, too, so that means you'll have a lot of SMGs coming into the fray for this first gun round, but also a lot of saved money, which they can use to immediately reinvest if Ghost does win out here.
So, we basically find ourselves in the same spot we were in the last map, where Rush is off to a very heavy-handed start, and Ghost is left with their backs against the wall. What's Rush going to do? Do exactly what they did on Inferno early on, charging down into the B site, past the site, and right into B main, where they at least get a few kills early on. That aggression does cost them, though. However, look at the smokes. I like the position. Oh, man, that shot sparked right next to Ruru, but he manages to survive, and now he's going to play with this smoke. He's got a great play right now. So this position early on gave them so much information, but Ghost escape and have the ability to do what we see B doing. Run back through T-spawn and still end around towards the B site. So there's no guarantees that it's necessarily going to be A. Bomb is still over in that general vicinity. But look at this. They've been split apart like field goal posts. The bomb is by itself over towards the A site. It's in Seb's hands. The rest of the team is back by B main. Ruru's position could cut this thing directly in half, as he's just waiting to see what's going to happen. All he has to do is hold his ground.
The remaining players here on Ghost still trying to slowly creep back up and get that B control, but Ruru specifically has himself a massive wedge being driven, which is going to prevent any successful strategy on Ghost from being executed, as he's between the bomb and the rest of these players that are trying to push out towards B. The thing is that Ruru is the only line of defense leading up to B. Both Seb and Ruru spot each other, but Ruru moves in, he strikes, eliminates Seb, and that, in all reality, should seal the deal here. I'm actually a bit surprised we don't see everyone from Russia immediately rotating over to that position. So he's managed to isolate off at least one angle of the useless room push. Does have to kind of cautiously watch out for the other angle, and now back into the B halls too. But the two remaining players on Ghost have moved back out. They know they don't have time to really make this happen. Their best bet is to try and do as much damage as possible. So they are sitting back in T-spawn, where they'll pick up at least one more kill here. But with time running out, Rush is going to claim it via the timer. They'll go up to 14.
You have to wonder what's going through Ghost's head at that point. You know, we're hitting like 40 seconds left, and Seb's still over by A, alone with the bomb. And he's completely segregated from his team. So at that point, he has to knife out and run towards B. As soon as he dies and Ruru throws the molly down, that's it. The round's over. There's nothing they can do. They can't wait for the molly to dissipate, grab the bomb, and plant B. They just really don't have a choice. The game that's how you lose rounds. Just complete miscommunication, a collapse from Ghost. But not surprised. You got to wonder if frustration's starting to take hold here. At 14-5, I would imagine that's going to be the case. Akis and Toy try to make up their minds about who's going to boost up over the mid spot. Akis wants to charge through the smokes as the flashes and nades come through. He just changes to the other side. He actually got pegged by one of those nades. He's going to stay here as well, and Toy's going to help out. Great work from him and Toy as they end the push in mid. And that should be a 15th round here for Rush, as it's just Wardell. And it's been time and time again that this man's been in this position, a 1 versus many. This time it's 5 with the AWP, and he doesn't even hit the first shot before Silent swings wide with his AWP and closes things out for Rush. That's a 10-round lead now for Rush. It's looking like Rush is going to be moving on in the upper bracket.
Yeah, so there you go. 15-5 now. Ghost going to be completely broken for the most part here. Obviously forcing into it as much as they can, but even that force isn't going to be that great. We have 2 Tech 9s. What's Neptune going to get? Neptune gets a Deagle Bite, and then a Galil and an AK. Various amounts of utility. The utility is actually not that bad. But still, confidence is certainly not really something that I imagine the Ghost guys have, considering this buy and overall how they've treated this half so far. It has been a flawless one for Rush, and they have the opportunity to end it flawlessly if they can take control of this one, along with a 2-1 victory, pushing them on into the upper bracket finals, where they have a chance now to reclaim their Pro League spot tomorrow. The Blade, oh, okay. He's going to get taken down by B. Very nice shot. I think there was a slight hole in the smoke he was able to abuse. Now Ake is alone on the site. Problem is, though, he's got to get ready. They're pushing it a lot faster than he believes, and now Wardell swings in, eliminates Akis. One more player by Z, going to get pushed back. That's great control for Ghost, and denying Rush of pretty much everything. Even Rue is going to have trouble holding onto his current position on the opposite side of Truck. Wrapping in, smoke gets in the way, but can't get the immediate kill onto Wardell. Out of ammo now, and Wardell takes advantage on that one. He's going to eliminate Ruru down at 1 HP, so he's going to have to hide his head for the rest of the round. But for Toy and Silent, they're giving up on this one. They're falling back, and they are going to let Ghost escape with at least a 6th round.
Akis totally just got 4-3'd. I don't think he ever saw that player cross right in front of him. It was just outside of his right peripheral on the screen. He was like by the box in sight. So it's a 6th round for Ghost, and it's one of many that they're going to need if they're going to force this one to overtime. But like we had said early on, Rush has so much money that it doesn't even really matter. They can afford that for rounds to come. Guns are going to get juggled left and right and purchased by everyone. And you can see the AWP will be put in play yet again here by Silent and Wardell, respectively, for both sides. Rifles across the board for everyone as well, but it is actually the T side who's a bit weaker. But
there's the wall
bang. You know, we saw that attempt several times this last weekend. Not once did it even come close to hitting.
Well, they hit it now. Just needed an online environment, apparently. So it works out great for him. And it's not going to be so good, as it Blade does respond to this now. But Seb has Blade cornered, so he should be able to easily trade this. Moment, though, having trouble getting that last bullet. Oh! Heartbeat pegs him with the Molotov. That takes him out with the Molly toss. And we do end up now 4v3.
So, Ruru, Toy, and Silent trying to fight back against Connor, Wardell, and Neptune. Wardell's going to put a smoke down on Z as they move their way up into mid. Ruru's in a really good position to put this one down unless they flash their way in. Wardell leaps up on top. It's an easy kill. A second one in front of him, not going to happen today. So trades going back and forth. Toy's position in the bomb site is still really good, but unfortunately, he doesn't know what's coming behind him, so he has to take the fight with the guy working up from highway. And at this point, Silent's got an unwinnable situation in front of him. He's got his AWP towards the truck, though.
Hey, it looks like he's probably going to go... I mean, he's got a molly, so he can isolate at least one position. The only one... It's basically going to be a roll of the dice, though. If he mollies quad, it's great. If he mollies fork, it's going to suck, because, well, he won't find a position. He's trying to do his best to manually check everything. He's gotten all the way up to truck. He does pick up a kit now as well. So he's got that extra timer, finding one player inside, but the quad guy's not going to be able to freely peek him. And that'll be Neptune closing out, getting a nice 3K on the round. Up to 7 now. Ghost will be still 8 more to go before an overtime is claimed.
It's possible. We've seen some crazy comebacks. There was a team that played throughout Premier this season that went by the name of Eclipse, who consistently played terrible in the first half. Like, absolutely garbage. And they even admitted, they said they were the coldest team coming into the first half every single game they played. And like I said, one of the teams they played was Ghost. It was a 14-6 on Mirage, and they won 16-14. On Train, they were down 10-0. They won 19-17 in overtime. They did that consistently every single week. So it's certainly possible to bring a game back. But it's just looking at the way the teams have been playing. Rush has been playing so well. But if anyone's going to do it for you, it's going to be Wardell. He gets a collateral kill on 2 players pushing B main. Toy picks off 1 with the Deagle, so at least they're doing damage here with the pistols. If they can try and keep the guns out of the hands of Ghost, it'll make it a little bit easier for Rush to close this one out. But it's just 1 kill and maybe a second. Akis inside of B main, back behind the big box. Eventually gets bested by Wardell, who charges with the Tech 9. 2 players still remain here for Rush as Blade takes significant damage. At least gets a kill before he dies. Toy with an AK stuck behind the smoke. Does he just charge through this one? He's going to run
He's gonna
through
go
it?
for it.
I would imagine he is.
They're buying next round anyway. Oh, and he catches Neptune with a nade out, so that's the free kill there. Just one more to go on Seb. He's got to be really careful about how he takes this duel, though. He doesn't have armor, so aim punch is going to suck. Finds him in the open and so close, down to 41 HP. But Seb comes out on top, keeping Ghost in the match.
Seven rounds now. It's like one by one. They're just slowly working their way back into this game. But Rush still has the money to buy. Like you said, that was a save. That was an eco, and they killed 4 players and almost ended the game right there. So it bodes well for Rush moving forward. Still a full buy coming in for Ghost, and oh, Wardell just narrowly misses the shot onto Silent, who kind of clipped the wall as he was dropping into checkers with an attempted B-hop. But as a result, Wardell unable to hit. And it allows the Opera for the CT side to survive a little while longer. It's going to slide out a bit more, but meanwhile it's Blade on the other end of the map, getting a kill on B, who got overly aggressive in A main looking for a pick. So Blade now repositioning towards NBK. But another kill and yet another for the CT side. Ruru and Silent making sure this game ends the way that they would like it to, 16-8. It's just 2 players trying to save it, Seb and Neptune, and we've seen them both do it time and time again for them all season long. Aegis, though, creeping through the smoke. Neptune never sees it coming. So if Seb's going to do it, it's going to have to be an ace.
Yeah, Seb, oh, unlucky as well, getting tagged through the garage here. Not for much, though. Just only 8 HP gets knocked off of him, but still the odds is basically impossible to actually try and win this out. Decent utility to, at the very least, try and get onto the site and set himself up for something. He'll find an op on the ground, too, if he wants to use that, but I believe he's going to stick with the AK under these circumstances. Moving over slowly through those B halls. And there's already 2 players waiting for him within the site. Like I said, he's got utility. He's got those smokes, so he can try to use that to toss him back in. Opening up a little bit of a window for himself, but doesn't utilize it. Silent gets the last kill, and Rush do indeed close out. So they're going to end this series 2-1, and they will push forward into the upper bracket final. For Ghost, unfortunately, they're going to head down to the lower bracket, where they'll have to face off against the loser of our next game, which is going to be between X-Selfless / The Foundation and Enigma 6.
It should be an interesting game. I mean, I have that painted as a... I'm not going to say. I don't want to sound mean, but I think Enigma 6 do win. I'm just not going to make any kind of score prediction.
Yeah, well, we will have to find out on that one. It is scheduled to start in about 10 minutes, folks. I don't know if we're going to push that timetable forward or not, since this one finished a little bit early. But as soon as we do have that match ready for you, we'll be coming back with it. So stick with us, as that is going to be the next match. It's another best of 3 as well, and we'll have it as soon as it's ready, guys. Stick with us for more action right here at the ESL Pro League. The relegation for North American Season 6 continues in just a little bit.